All right. Just a minute here. It looks like there's an error that occurred. So let's see what we can do with Mercury retrograde here. All right. We're just checking everything. Okay. So it looks like we're live here on Facebook. We're live over on Instagram, and it looks like we are having some trouble with YouTube. But the good news is we're live on most of the places. So if you're here with us, let us know. Tell us in the comments. We'd love to say hi to you. And if you're watching the replay, just thank you for watching the replay. We'd love to see you in the comments as well. And today we're going to be doing some spirit and oracle messages with Brenda and Chandra. So very excited this April. Brenda and Chandra decided to join our team at Messenger of Spirit by doing readings. And so they are available for appointments. And so many of you have been asking for readings. You have missed readings, and I don't do readings anymore, but guess who does? Chandra and Brenda. And they're amazing at what they do. So if you are someone who's been really wanting a reading and you're like, where do I sign up? You go to messengerofspirit.com/appointments, and you can schedule a reading with Brenda or Chandra. And they have different styles. And I'd love to chat with you before we get into our oracle messages, because we're going to take people from the audience to give a mini reading to. I would love for each of you to introduce yourselves, tell everybody a little bit about your style and any other message that you want to share. So I'm going to ask Brenda if you would introduce yourself first and just share a little bit more about you and what you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brenda Grasjo. I am an intuitive medium, so I speak with loved ones in spirit. I talk with your guides and angels, and I ask for the information that comes through is for your highest and best good. So sometimes you may get what you didn't come for, you know? So sometimes what your spirit team wants to tell you might not be what you're expecting to have happen. So I think just coming in with an open mind and asking for whatever is for your highest and best good is the most important way to come into a reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we're like, oh, we want this. We want to know about this. And Spirit's like, oh, we just got you in here. Now you're in for
Right.
what we want to tell you about. And you just don't
Right.
know what's going to come through. And the funny thing too is, it's like the Oreo effect. It's like they give you this wonderful cookie, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I recognize this piece of evidence, or I recognize this is the question I want. And then there's like a message sometimes that they weren't prepared for. They weren't going to ask about. And they're like,
Right.
that's interesting. And then Spirit gives more messages about something else that they understand. So it's
Right.
like, all right, well, I guess this is really valid. I love it when that comes through. And I love your style, Brenda, too. You tell it like it is, like you said. Sometimes you just hear stuff that you didn't know.
Yep.
So thank you for being a reader here. And Chandra, can you introduce yourself? Well, first, let me just say, I think everybody knows you, but in case, Chandra has been a part of our team at Messenger of Spirit for years, working behind the scenes and doing community management. But she's also been doing readings. And so I'm very excited that you're now doing readings here at Messenger of Spirit. So I will pass the virtual mic to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited to be having this opportunity to do readings in this way. As a channeler, the messages don't come as naturally. So doing oracle cards and being able to have the movement and having attention drawn to something really helps me get in the flow.
Yeah.
It helps the messages come through a little bit better. Oh, thank you, Renee. I love you too. And my style is a little bit as well. It's a lot different from Brenda's. But in the oracle readings, what I like to do is do them for guidance. It's not really, Grandma Ruby came in and said blah 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 blah. It's more like, what's the energy around, certain situations or certain parts of your life now? What would be your next best step in this situation right now? And working with my guides and your guides to kind of give us kind of that big picture guidance kind of reading. That's my theme.
Yeah. And I love that both of you have a different style. So like you said, you're focused more on the general guidance. And Brenda, you love talking about Grandma Ruby or whomever wants to come through as well.
Right.
So when you all who want to get a reading, go to messengerspirit.com/appointments. You can look at their different reading styles and make an appointment there. And you can also get to know them right here, because we're going to be doing some oracle messages for sort of select people. So we're going to just see who I'm drawn to. I'll be your host, and they're going to be doing the readings for you. But also just letting you know that we have some podcast episodes coming out. So today we have a podcast episode coming out with Brenda, and we're talking about spirit orbs. Brenda and I'm not going to say some 4-letter words on social media because they might end up blocking it. We have seen some weird stuff, is what I'll say, from fairy lights to spirit orbs to UFOs. You might want to listen to the podcast episode, and it's over at messengerspirit.com/133, and listen in all your favorite apps. Next week, we're going to have Chandra on the podcast, and she's talking about channeling messages with ADHD, which is something that I think is so important to talk about, because sometimes we don't understand how the messages are coming in. And so we're going to talk about her journey and how she got the messages, and some tips for anybody else that might feel like, where are my intuitive messages? And then all month, we've got some fun episodes. We're going to talk about how to prepare for a reading and how to really make the most of your reading. So more to come, but let's go ahead and get into some oracle messages. So if you would like an oracle message or an oracle card, please put yes in the comments so I can then just see who spirit draws me to, and then I will ask Brenda or Chandra for a message. So maybe there's a specific question that you have, and I always say stay away from yes and no's. So like, what's the energy around so-and-so? They can pull a card for you. Or if you're just like, I want a card, they can pull a card for you too. And so I'm going to be toggling back and forth. And so the first person I'm drawn to here is Deanna Frey. So I'm going to ask Brenda, can you pull a card, just a general message for Deanna?
Which of my million card decks should I choose from?
Right? I think you and I were like going back and forth. Like I've got what, like 38 decks, and you're like, I think I beat you with like 40 or something like that.
I was so disappointed because on my desk I've only got room for 4, and I'm like, I gotta only pick 4.
I know. You need like a closet or like a little tub to carry around.
Right. Well, I took your deck out in the rain with me last week.
Aww.
And it got all jacked up, but that's the deck I'm going to use.
Okay.
All right. So this is for, what was her first name again?
Deanna Frey.
Deanna. What does Deanna need to know on her journey right now? Right here, Deanna. Oh, I keep pulling this card for myself too. It's the doorkeeper card. Discernment is key. So you need to look around your group and who you have surrounding you and see who gets access to you at this time. I'd call in some guides to help you with that, because it feels like there's someone who might be draining on your energy, and you just need to put up like a little energetic block for that at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
feels
good.
like it. Feels like it's someone either in your social circle or at work that's kind of just feeling like a little bit of an energy drain.
Thank you for that, Brenda. All right. I'm just going to keep going over back and forth. So now I'm over on Instagram, and I've got Dusty in NC. So if you could pull a general card, Dusty in NC.
Is that
Chandra? Yep. Okay. Sorry. We're going to go back and forth. That's my bad.
Okay. What does Dusty need to know right now for her highest and best, or the highest and best? Well, I had a whole lot fall out for for Dusty. The first one was inspired action. Take inspired action now. So that feels like weighing your options, like make sure it feels like you've got a lot of different ways you could go. And so you really need to take care and use discernment in which one is really the not, we won't say the right one, but the best one for you at this time. The second card that fell out was detox. It's time to purge, let go, release, clear your energy. So, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about is getting rid of the stuff that is holding you back and taking the aligned, inspired action on the right path. And then I feel like this is kind of like a possible outcome if you do that. Abundance is here. The universe is so generous. So
That's
love that.
nice. I love that too. Sometimes we forget like what's going to happen after the detox because we're just so focused on the symptoms of the detox, but there's so much abundance that can come after it. I think that's really beautiful. Thank you, Chandra, for that. Also, Brenda, Deanna said, thank you so much. It was a great confirmation for work-related discernment that I needed. So that's
Nice.
so nice.
Excellent.
So Dusty NNC, Chandra just pulled all these cards for you. And so now we're going to I'm going to answer a couple questions. So Row, I believe, Row 1.028. Can you get an oracle and a medium reading? So when you go over to messengerspirit.com/appointments, you can book an appointment. And depending on what you mean by mediumship. So mediumship is really just the act of giving messages to someone else. But sometimes when people say mediumship, they think of talking to loved ones in spirit who've crossed over. And so if that's something that you're wanting to do, you might want to book an appointment with Brenda because she loves connecting with loved ones who've crossed over into spirit. And she pulls some oracle cards. If you're saying mediumship as just getting a message combined with oracle cards, both of these wonderful women do this in their readings. So go over to messengerspirit.com/appointments and you can check a little bit more out. Dusty Nancy says, thank you, Chandra. And all right, we're going to keep on going. All right. So Brenda, Mari says, I definitely need some guidance. I feel like everything is such a mess right now. So could you maybe pull a card, please?
Yes. I feel like, Mari, that you really need to get back in touch with yourself as well. Like get yourself really good and grounded and like spend some time with your spirit, girl. Meditation, whatever works for you. And just really like connect in with yourself. Because whenever we get really scattered like that, it feels like that's what we need to do is be back within ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I pulled repairing the veil.
Ooh.
Forgiveness. So I feel like this is kind of like, it looks almost like laces. So like bringing yourself back together and kind of connecting back in with yourself. So the message basically that I had before, you need to connect back in with yourself in order to get grounded and figure out what your next right steps are. Because it's right there. And if you look at this, there's all this great stuff happening on the bottom here. There's a little butterfly, the sun's coming up, like things are going to be all right, girl.
That's so nice.
Spend some time with yourself.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
Self-love, self-care, especially right now with all the retrograde energy for sure. So I did have a question. Somebody said, why so many cards? Because we were talking about all the oracle cards. And my answer is that I just love the cards. They call to me. There's different decks. And so when I do spirit messages in my membership, which I'll channel each month, sometimes I feel drawn to a specific deck for one kind of group of questions. Or if I'm doing a reading for somebody, I might feel like a different deck is needed. And so each deck has a different energy and you just kind of feel pulled to it. I mean, obviously I love my deck. I love it, but I also have other ones. And so sometimes I use different decks. It's just more of an energy. Is that what you would say for both of you?
Yeah. I think it's whatever you feel called to that day, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I have certain decks that I go to for certain things. Like if I feel like someone is dealing with some certain emotion that they need to like pay attention to. I've got a soul's journey deck that's like doubt, adversity, regret that I would use for that particular thing. Whereas if I feel like this person needs a higher perspective, I've got a Lyran deck that's galactic beings. So I may use that for that. So it's kind of like, I feel like the theme of some of them are kind of geared to one type of message or another, and can, depending on the question, hone in a little bit on that specific topic. And it's so funny. It's so funny that you did that, Whitney, because I was like, well, when I get to talk again, I'm gonna say, I just want to answer this one question because I saw it go by. And yeah, of course you did. Of course you answered it.
I love it. I think it's, it's basically, sometimes there's like decks that are more business related, like you said, Chandra, like with purpose related and stuff. Yeah. All right, we are up next. I believe Chandra, you're up. So Sean Kruger, one over on Instagram, said, "What is the energy around the relationship most challenging me right now?" So I'm going to just repeat that. So this is for Sean. What is the energy around the relationship most challenging me?
Okay. So I had one fallout, but I wanted to get a clarifying card just to make sure. So the first card that came out is teacher. And the first thing that popped into my mind with teacher is if that relationship is challenging in some way, then it may be time to look at what, I don't want to say it's teaching you, because learning a lesson sounds like we're less than, and that we're looking for something outside ourselves, when we're the only one that has a choice. We're the only one in control. But sometimes situations happen to open our eyes to certain things and help us remember certain things about ourselves, that that we are in control, that we don't have to. We have a choice. We don't have to do it this way. If this way doesn't serve us or feel good, we can choose to do it a different way. And then I pulled personality. Can you hear Peanut? Can you hear him?
I can hear Peanut, but so Peanut is Chandra's dog, but also that card made me laugh on top of Peanut. I thought it's perfect because Peanut's got lots of personality.
Yeah. Peanut's doing the soundtrack for the for the image. But the personality card is just made me feel like there's more that's not a match than is a match. Like vibrationally, there's a misalignment there that you're either going to have to work on and bring back into alignment if you want that relationship to kind of like, quote unquote, be all it can be. Or you're going to have to realize that, it's hard to do, but this is one of those things that's not going to serve me anymore. And I can either stay and repeat, or I can move on. Yeah.
That's a good message. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Peanut, for your extra energy and that personality. So funny. He's so cute. I'm a sucker for dogs, so I'm happy with his presence here. All right. We are going to move over here and let's go back to Facebook and see what we've got. All right. So Tammy Weaver, Brenda, if you could just pull a card, just a general message for Tammy Weaver.
All right, Tammy. I feel like it needs to be something that you need to work on. And, I can't decide. See, this happens. Right? Decision.
It does.
Okay. All right, Tammy. I feel like there's something that Spirit is wanting you to work on in your life. An area that needs some attention. So let's pull a card and see what it says. There's two here calling to me. So let's see. Oh. Okay. So I pulled two cards, the Oak and the Vision card. Don't just look within, dive deeply into the eternal realms of knowing. And then the Vision card, to find enlightenment, seek nowhere, for it lives within you. So I feel like this is about taking a deep dive into yourself Like, that's what spirit wants you to work on. They want you to work on getting to know you better and seeing what needs to stay and what needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest work right there, y'all.
It is.
Taking that deep dive within and looking at the shadows and all the things.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I'm trying to clean out my closet. And like, what needs to go? What needs to stay? But it's your energy closet you're cleaning
Yeah.
out.
And the cards say you have it within you. So what you seek is already in you, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to
Love
dig
that.
in there and find it.
You got to dig. Get your
Yeah.
shovel.
Get your shovel.
So somebody on Instagram asked, is it spirit led with oracle cards? And so my answer is yes. Everything is spirit led. The readers are not leading it. They're just the messengers, which, you know, is part of the business over here at Messenger of Spirit. All right.
Right.
So we're going to go
Whitney,
ahead.
can I tag on to
Yeah,
that?
go for it.
Personally, before I start a reading, I ask my guides to connect with the person that I'm reading's guides and get the message that they need to hear the most at the moment. And then I ask them to draw my attention to the card that best conveys that message. So it's definitely I'm just the vehicle. I'm just the channel. I'm just the hands that move and the mouth that says. So that's my intention going into every reading.
So let's talk about intention. So Brenda, you had mentioned something about, we're going to talk more in depth about it on the podcast, but what do you feel, any tips that you might want to share with people to how to best prepare for your reading to make sure on their end?
I think it's really helpful if people will call in the people they want to come in before they come, because it kind of sets that intention. So if you want your grandma Ruby to come in, then ask her to join you. Or if you want your guides to come in and give me information that's going to be helpful for you on your journey. I think it's really good if you have the presence of mind. You're open to whatever needs to come through, but also that you have the intention that it's for your highest and best good. And also to call in whatever guides or loved ones in spirit that you want to come through as well, because that does help increase that connection.
Yeah. So.
And if I'm the one getting the reading, or if I'm the one getting like the energy healing or whatever, I always set the intention and specifically ask my guides, give the person who's doing the service any information that they need. You are free to give them any information that they need that's going to lead them to say or do what is for my highest good and what I need in the moment. So, also, and if there's certain people that, you're having a mediumship reading and there's certain people that you don't want to hear from, you can also tell your guides, I don't really need to hear from this person right now. So we can keep them off limits, and they will do that as well. So
I will say this caveat that sometimes there are clients that don't want to hear from certain people, but as the medium, those spirit people would come through. And so my spirit guides were saying, this is a good thing. But as the medium, we could say, so-and-so is here. Is it okay if I give a message from them? And sometimes a client says no. It breaks my heart when I step back from it, because normally it's like an apology thing if your spirit guides bring it through. But it's still, we're going to make sure that, if you don't want to hear from them, you don't want to hear from them. So I think that's really, really important. And
that actually happened in a reading that you did for me.
Did it?
Yes, it did. And they backdoored me. They sent someone in that I didn't know, like a relative that I didn't know. And so I was like, okay, I'll take Howard's message. I don't know who Howard is. And it was like, your father wants to tell you. And I was like, oh, so he circumvented the whole situation. And the other, I was having an Akashic Records reading with Lynn, and I did the whole thing. I told my guys, any information that I need, give Lynn everything that she needs to, to find the message. And she's like, there's this little white-haired lady that's running up to me, waving a white flag. And I'm like, she backdoored me.
Yeah.
She backdoored me. So they find a way. They find a way.
They do, but I will say, as readers, we'll make sure, like, if you really don't want to hear it, we'll stop the message. But spirit, it's always good to just be open to what comes through from spirit, and I think that's the key, to be really, really open. And sometimes, as the person getting the reading, you can talk to all your loved ones in spirit, but please still communicate with your medium. Please still communicate with your reader, because there's been times over the years I've done readings where sometimes people are like, "Oh, I asked so and so to show up, and they know the questions that I need."
Mhm.
And then I'll say, "Do you have any questions?" And they'll be like, "Nope," And
Yeah.
it's always good to hear the voice vibration of the client, just to ask the
Mhm.
question again. And I think people get stuck in skepticism that way, or it might be privacy. Normally what happens is spirit answers all the questions the person wanted to know anyway, plus more information. But it's really nice if you can at least ask the question, if you have it and it's not already been answered, just for the voice vibration. Because what happens to your energy if you don't, it kind of does this. It's like,
Mhm.
nope, I got a wall up. I'm not
Yeah.
talking. And then it's harder for spirit to communicate because your energy is kind of gone like this.
Mhm.
So during the reading, the best thing I can say to all the clients out there getting the reading is to stay open, breathe through it. Sometimes I used to do readings in person, and people, I was like, oh, I just love this person's vibe. We're talking, we get to the reading, their energy was like, and then the opposite was true. Sometimes the person was very introverted, didn't talk a lot, sat down in front of me, and the energy was like, tell me all the things. So the best thing you can do is just stay open during your reading, is what I would say. So I'm going to move over to Instagram now, and I'm going to, Brenda, I think you're next, right?
I think Chandra, did I answer the last one? Lord, I can't keep up with
I
it.
can't either. I'm the host. I'm
Whoever.
sorry. I'm falling down on the job.
Okay,
Chandra,
so
do you
how
have-
about we both pull one? We'll both pull one for this one.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Francis B66 over on Instagram says, what is the energy? I love your question, because so what's the energy around my first sound bath in May?
Ooh.
And could you
It
repeat
makes
the
me
name?
really happy.
Yeah, could you repeat the name?
Francis.
Francis.
First sound bath healing. That's exciting.
It is exciting.
I feel like it's going to be an experience you'll remember, because it's like every single card wants to fall out. It's like I can't even shuffle, because everything wants to come out.
Yeah.
I'm just getting healing. Interesting. So I pulled the mini masks and the authentic self. So I think it's going to be some sort of coming back to yourself in an energetic way, because I feel like it's going to sound, I feel like, is really good for you, and it's going to help peel away layers of stuck energy that's on the outside, if that makes any sense. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Totally. It feels like there's going to be some things that have been, I don't want to say blocks, because that has its own connotation, but like stuff that's been like a wall that's been holding you back, keeping you from moving forward, is going to be released. Because I had actually had two cards that fell out, and they both essentially say the same thing. The new time and planetary cycles. So it's talking about closing cycles, completion, moving forward. And the other one is about positive self-talk, advancement, opportunity, leadership. So they're both about like moving forward, moving into new spaces, closing the current cycle that may not be as fulfilling as it could be. So feels like a lot of stuff getting out of your way.
Yeah. And I feel like sound is really good for you, like in the future, moving forward, as a means of healing. Besides sound baths, other types of sound healing situations, and so forth.
And all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
Thank you. All right. This time I'm going to say, Chandra, you're up next.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back to Facebook over here. I'm Michelle Massa, and I'm a sucker for dogs. And guess what? Her profile picture is this cute little dog. Could you please tell me if I will get my new business off the ground and be successful with it? So we'll reframe that to what's the energy around Michelle's new business?
So I think the way I feel led to approach it is to use the soul's journey card and ask, like, what's one area that Michelle needs to, if there's anything holding her back, what is it, and where could she put that attention? So if anything holding you back, well, perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to.
Nice.
So just girl, don't doubt yourself. Don't think, I know we're human and we get into those situations where it's like, can I really do this? This is so much. It's so big. It's so much responsibility. But when that happens, just go, wait a minute. I'm part of all that is. Of course I can do this. Kind of have that mentality and keep with it. It may be one of those things where it doesn't start out exactly the way you think it should or go as fast as you think it should. But Spirit's saying, you can do it. Keep with it. Stay the course. Move forward, and eventually you will get where you want to be.
I love it. It sounds like it's like you got to align your thoughts and believe in yourself. Christine just asked a general question. Do any of the three of you feel extra pressure on or in your head at this time, similar to being in an airplane? I actually do. I wasn't aware of it till you asked that question. It was kind of like right up at the top of the head. And whether it is currently with the three of us here, or there's a lot of the eclipse energy that's been released into the ether to help release things. And whenever you're working more on your intuitive development too, some of those upper chakras kind of can pulsate and be a call for you to open up your energy. But it can also just be symptoms that your energy is becoming lighter as we're integrating into this new energy. And there's a lot of things going on. I feel like it is an interesting mix, kind of like alphabet soup right now, where we have this Mercury retrograde. We just had the eclipse. We've got a lot of stuff in I would say in the US, at least, I think in the world, that we're all experiencing. At the same time, we need to be lightening our energy. So we're all experiencing this. How about you all? How do you feel about that?
I had the weirdest sensation yesterday. It was almost like there was a pressure in my head and on top of my head, and it was like pushing against each other. And I'm like, okay, am I about ready to have a brain aneurysm or something? And then I've also been having this thing with my eyes, and I think this has something to do with the solar eclipse that we had. It's like I get up in the morning and they're fine, and then after I'm up a couple minutes, they start swelling. And it looks really dry underneath them. And I'm like, this is not my usual. And I haven't been eating differently or doing anything. So I think the solar eclipse is doing a doozy on us. And I've been really tired.
Yeah.
And yesterday morning for me, it felt like my head was too heavy for my neck. It felt like I just couldn't hold my head up, and I needed more support. And it felt like my chest was kind of like pushing up, going, "We'll help you, kind of. It felt really, really weird. But my signal for when my spirit guides are around is I get numb right here. Like I get a little, and sometimes Brenda's seen it. My eyebrows will even twitch when it's really, really strong. So that's just, I just throw that out there. That's just my signal for when my guides are around.
Definitely. Hey, we've got a couple fun questions, but then we're going to get back to some more oracle messages. So if you're someone who wants a spirit message, you want an oracle message, tell us in the comments over on Instagram or Facebook, or if you have a specific question, and we'll see who we're drawn to, and maybe you'll be somebody that we're going to read. So I'm scrolling up and down, so don't worry if you've been here for a while and you haven't gotten, your message. I'm still looking, so I just go with where spirit tells me to go. But I thought this was fun. Joanne asked a question, and her profile on Instagram is Detective Snifferson, another dog profile. If a person is cranky in life, do they come across that way in spirit? And I thought that was hilarious because yes, they can. They don't have to all the time, because sometimes they drop some of that energy and they are like a higher vibration. But yes, sometimes they're still cranky because that it's like when they pass over into spirit where they were, they don't just magically accelerate their vibration, and they still can come across being kind of cranky. And so you still can see some of the personality. It just depends on the spirit. So I'm over here on Instagram, and I do want to see what we've got here. Let's just look. All right. So this is going to be for Brenda.
Okay.
And Brenda, this might not be something that, you know, we can do right here on StreamYard, but you love talking to loved ones in spirit who've passed. And so I believe it's Liza Cohan said, I would love to connect with my son who crossed over in December. So if there's a message, and maybe you can't connect to her son in a small little snippet like this, but if there's any kind of message for her, I wanted to ask you.
Well, whenever you started talking about her, I got a really heavy feeling in my heart, and I felt the sadness. So he's saying, I'm okay, Mom. And I don't know if his passing was like, it feels like it was really fast, and I almost have a feeling of being like pulled apart. So I feel like the spirit and the body left each other really, really quickly. So if there was any kind of worry about him being in pain or suffering, I feel like he pulled away really, really quickly from his body. So he did not experience that physical pain. But he wants you to know that he's okay. And he's around you a lot. And he's trying to show me a sign, and I see it as like a little bird on your shoulder. So I don't know what that is referring to, but like a little blue bird sitting on your shoulder. That's how he's wanting to present himself.
That's nice. I love how loved ones in spirit will send signs. Sometimes they're birds like that. I had a person in my family who passed over, and she always believed in bluebirds as signs, and they were really meaningful. And so when she passed, that was one of the ways that she chose to say, hey, I'm okay. So every time I see a bluebird, I think of her. And it sounds like the spirit is also wanting to do that. So thank you, Brenda, for sharing that. Let's see who else. All right. So Chandra, if you could give a general reading or any kind of message that you feel coming from the cards or from spirit to Anna Taurus.
Okay. What does Anna need to know? You can't make this stuff up. This is going to be the theme for today, teacher.
The teacher.
Teacher card.
Yeah. So usually when the teacher card comes up to me, it feels like there's something going on that is trying to teach you, that's trying to open your eyes or bring you a realization. And I'm getting the feeling that it's kind of like you're not seeing it, and they keep like knocking on the door, going, over here, look at this. And you know, it hasn't occurred to you yet. There's something that they want you to see and to acknowledge, and it hasn't come into your awareness yet. So just kind of be aware that it hasn't come into your awareness, and just kind of, you know, be a little bit more open in the situations and the circumstances that are going on around in your life, and see if there's anything in those that, you know, could have a dual purpose, could be exactly what it looks like, but could also be trying to lead you to a realization or you know, to a remembrance of something that you've forgotten.
I like that. That's really nice. All right, Brenda, you're up. And by the way, if you would like to make a 1-hour reading appointment with one of these wonderful mediums, you can go over to messengerofspirit.com/appointments, and their calendars have been booking up really fast. This month in April, we have a retrograde special of $150. After April 30th, the price goes up. So if you want to take advantage of that, by the way, with the retrograde special, it's not focused. The reading's not focused on retrograde necessarily. It's just this is a good time to get a reading, because it's a good time to be introspective and reflective and see what spirit needs to share, because oftentimes we feel really confused in retrograde. We feel like there's a lot of funkiness or we need more clarity. And so this is a really nice time to do that. All right. So we have Charisse Schultz, Brenda, who says, I feel like I need more guidance around my business and how I can best help others. So this is over on Instagram, and it's Charisse Schultz. I feel like I need more guidance around my business and how I can best help others.
So in asking yourself that question, are you also asking yourself, how can I best help myself? Because we can give, or think about, just what's happening on the other side of the table, but you also need to think about what's happening on your side of the table, like what fills you up, and whatever fills you up is what is going to work for you. And this card just flew down, so I got to get down and get it.
I saw that and I laughed a little bit. That happens to me sometimes. I'm like, okay, I got to get it. I'm just gonna have to get it.
Okay, it's the mindful card. So it's being mindful. And I want to pull the book out on this, because I don't know that much about this card, but it's absolutely beautiful. Keeping a clear mind, thinking for yourself. So don't be asking me, girl. You be asking yourself. What do you need? Yep. So thinking about how you can also fulfill yourself as you're serving other people, because I think that's really important. A lot of people in business who are, empaths and want to be givers. We give, but you also got to fill up your own cup. So make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is also giving you satisfaction. It's making you feel good. And that's not selfish.
Yeah.
Like we've been told our whole lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that message is going to hit home for a lot of people. And thank you for asking that, Charisse. But I also feel like your message, Brenda, is for a lot of people listening too.
And I'm just going to say this because I turned the deck over and it says surrender. So, there's my camera. Surrender to the process.
Okay. I hear it. All right. We're going to take a few more questions and then we'll end soon. So our next question is going to be over here for Tanya Fulton, new to the page. Hello, Tanya. I'm glad that you're here. And so Chandra, do you have a message for Tanya?
So since Tanya's new to the page, we're going to give her the full Messenger of Spirit experience.
All right. She also says, do any of you have any guidance? I'm at a crossroads with a few things. How funny. She just popped up as soon as I picked Tanya's name.
Third eye chakra. Visualize the outcome. So I'm getting a lot of stuff, but mainly it feels like mindfulness, like exactly what Brenda was talking about. Is like opening your awareness to things that maybe you haven't up to now, or expanding your awareness around things that that are already there. So it's like if you're interested in a certain topic, like you're interested in numerology, like go a little bit deeper, like go a little bit, expand your curiosity about that topic. There may be something like, out on the fringes that you don't know about yet that could be exactly, I don't want to say the answer, but what you're looking for. It'll give you another breadcrumb on the journey. So just, don't think that what you have is all there is. Expand your awareness and see if there's other stuff out on the fringes that that may give you some of the things that you're looking for.
All right. Thank you, Chandra. And by the way, for all of you out there who have more specific questions, and if you want to go deeper, because this is just a little taste of what they do, sign up for reading with them. Their calendars I'm seeing appointments coming in. So if you're feeling a call in your gut, in your heart, like go on to messengerspirit.com/appointments and make your appointment, because they only have a limited amount and they're booking out really fast. So, all right, I've got another one for you, Brenda.
All right.
And the question is from Amy Godwin, who says, I know someone is often near. I'm just wondering who. So, Brenda, who are you picking up for Amy?
Well, there's more than one. There's several people who are coming around you. There's like, some of them are your guides, specifically one. And then you also have, there's a female in spirit around you too. And she's there. I see her like she's pushing you from behind. So she's encouraging you to move forward, do the thing. If it feels hard, she's like the one that's there pushing you to keep you moving forward. And she feels like she's more of like an ancestor spirit to me. But you also have several guides too, and your guardian angel. So you're never alone, girl. None of us are ever alone. And start talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them who they are themselves and see what you get. Like you don't need us to communicate with them. You can try for yourself too, and you can learn how to do it.
Yep. I think that is so funny. It's like a theme coming out today. It's like, well, yes, we're here to help you, but also don't be giving away your power too. You've got that intuitive abilities too. So I think that's important. And for all of you out there saying, I want to develop my intuition, I think you know, but in case you don't, that's what I do. So you just go to messengerspirit.com and you'll find a lot of different resources and a course to help you with that too. So sounds like you're not alone. I don't think, like you said, Brenda, I don't think we're ever alone. I remember one time I was going through a really hard time in my life, and I said out loud, I feel so alone. And I had this overwhelming warmth just go through my body. And I got this message really clearly. It said, you're not alone. We're here. And I felt so filled up with love. It was just beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I love.
Yeah, I think that we forget to ask them, and they can't intervene unless we ask for the help. So just talk to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's important.
As humans, we're conditioned that we have to be in control. We have to be. We have to make the decision. We have to make the choice. We have to do the thing. And we don't realize that. No, we don't. We can ask spirit for guidance, and then we can follow the breadcrumbs to the next best thing. And it's just not. It's for some reason that's one of the first things we forget, right? It doesn't feel innate to do that. But once you realize that you have that going for you, it changes everything.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of it too is, there's many different reasons. One of it is, I think that we're not really taught to trust ourselves, and we're not taught to trust our own power. And I think it's nice to have more information, but also ultimately, we have to make our intuitive decisions, and we get to choose to follow those breadcrumbs, because every intuitive message is a breadcrumb. Or we can go, nah, I'm going to go this way. And you might go this way, but you're going to end up getting back on that path at some point.
Yeah. And I'm a reader, right? And I feel fairly connected with my guides, but sometimes I like to get a reading too, because sometimes spirit is like, did you get the message that I told you last month? Sometimes, it's good just to get that that confirmation and help along your path too.
And we resist messages sometimes too. I know someone, and she needed to go back to the doctor, and I was just cooking, I was in my house cooking, and I got this message, so-and-so needs to go to the doctor. So I talked to my friend, like, hey, did you make your appointment? No, I'm not going to do it. I was like, well, I'm just telling you, this is what it is. A month later, I'm out walking, hey, did this person make the appointment? So I talked to my friend, no, I'm not going. And so what's funny is, that person's doctor's office called and said, we made your appointment. Like, it was like we're going to do this if you're not listening. So it's just so funny. Sometimes we resist the messages even from somebody else, but oftentimes when we hear it from somebody else, this is unfortunate and fortunate. we will finally recognize it. Most of the time we go, oh, okay, you know what? Brenda told me that. And I was just getting that message, 3 weeks ago. Okay, I'm going to look at it a little bit more. Most time we do that. I wish we would trust ourselves more, but it's okay. It's like, it's a community. It takes the community sometimes to really help us in growing.
Well,
All
and
right.
when you hear it from somebody else, it's so much easier to believe it. Because you may get the message, but you're like, no, that's my ego. That's just my ego. That can't be right. That's just my ego. Or you think you're too emotionally invested in it, and you kind of can't see the forest for the trees, but you hear it from somebody else and go, oh, I was getting that message. Oh, that was from spirit. Oh, okay, now I can act on it. Sometimes it's just a clarity thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what I tell my students who are in 4 intuitive languages, part of the homework is to get on a Zoom call and do the exercises, because it's also easier most of the time to read for somebody else than for yourself because of those reasons Chandra just did. So it's always good to have both. And I think there's a wonderful place for readings and wonderful place for listening to your intuition. And readings can just help clarify your intuition. And Amy said, thank you. I love my genealogy research. I can relate to that. I think that's really beautiful. And by the way, I'm not going to, share too much details here, but I just want to say I have had clients in the past. I have known people in my circle who have had spirits around them, and a medium might even say, I have this person here in spirit, and maybe the client doesn't recognize them at first. And then years later, they find out, oh, I had another family member that I didn't even know, or, my grandmother wasn't my biological grandmother. And so now I have these adopted parents, or I have these biological relatives I didn't even know. So we're always surrounded by spirit. And I think that's beautiful. So our last message, I believe, is going to go over to, whose turn is it? I forgot. We got lost. Okay. I don't know. How about both? How about both? You can pull a card. So sorry. All right. GEMM Stone is the username. And this is on Instagram, so I don't have the actual name, but GEMM. I'm like, come on, Whitney, get with the program. What should I choose as my college profession? Should I even go back to school according to spirit? So I would reframe that as, what's the energy that comes up? And maybe you get some answers around it too. There's been a teaching theme, which I think is interesting.
So whenever I feel into you going back to school, that feels good to me. The energy around that feels good. So I'm wondering if the two different things that you want to do are like very separate, like very different things, because I feel that division, and my cards are doing weird things.
I had 2 cards fall out, and at first I looked at these cards and I was like, holy crap, there's no message in that. That's crazy. But the more I looked at them, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. It's brilliant. Evermore and player. So if there's a topic where it just lights you up, and it would feel like you're playing, to be able to learn more about that, or something that a profession that you would go into and you'd be like, oh, that would be so awesome. That would feel like play, that you could do evermore. That's the thing that that you look at it and you're like, that's always going to light me up. I'm always going to go back to that thing. Use that to help you. I mean, don't let it make the decision, but let it help your discernment, and take that into account when you're making your decision.
I love that. What you got, Brenda?
Ooh, I pulled ask your angels.
What is the theme here?
I know. It was so funny. But also, I pulled the recovery card. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if either one of those things that you're thinking about doing have anything to do with helping people in recovery of some sort. But it feels good for me for you to go back to school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think you need to ask yourself what you want to do.
Yeah. That feels
And like
nice.
Chandra said, follow the thing that makes you happy and makes you feel playful and like it's going to be fun, even though school ain't fun.
No.
And I
Right.
know.
I know, you know.
Yeah.
But don't make your decision solely on, well, I should do
Right,
this.
exactly.
I should just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what can I do to continue to find joy,
Mhm.
and allow yourself to do that? And then also looking into healing, it sounds like, in some sort of
Mhm.
fashion with the recovery. And both of these lovely ladies are Geminis, so they always are learning, so they can feel you, which I like.
what's the
All
rabbit
right.
hole going to be today?
I know, right? So funny. Okay, so if you want to make a reading with appointment for Chandra, you can go to messengerspirit.com/Chandra. If you would like to make an appointment with Brenda, you go to messengerspirit.com/Brenda. If you want to learn more about all the things we offer, you can just go to messengerofspirit.com. If you can't decide, we've got a page to help you decide to see, and it might just come down to availability when a date works for you. Both of these ladies are lovely. And thank you, Brenda and Chandra, for being here. And thank you, everybody on Instagram and Facebook. We will have this replay for YouTubers. So sorry, the technology is just what it is. It just did not happen for YouTube today, but we will put it on. And thank you all for all of your energy. So we'll close out this session officially. And we will see you later. If you're on my email list, I'll be emailing you with a replay. So any last messages for everybody, Brenda and Chandra?
The one you seek is within you.
That's the thing, for sure. Yep.
And be easy on yourself. This journey is not easy. It is
No.
not easy. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Absolutely. I think those are wonderful messages. All right. I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you until next time. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.